Good morning, everybody. This is Ian Bell from Custom Gateway. Thanks for joining us this morning. Today's webinar will be explaining how you can use Photoshop for generating your customizable templates. So I'll be explaining how you can import these product templates into CPP, the Custom Product Platform, from PSD, from Photoshop files. So the idea behind it is to make it easier for designers to be able to work in the programs they're familiar with, to be able to create personalizable templates so you can get them published onto websites. So, introducing PSD imports. Selling personalizable or print-on-demand products really benefits from having good-looking templates. The better the imagery, the more engaged the customer will feel with the product. So lifestyle shots are used a great deal for if you have something, for example, a personalized chopping board for the kitchen, for example. If the photograph is set within a kitchen environment, it creates a lot better effect than if it's just on a blank background. But designers themselves, obviously, they prefer to work with the programs that they are familiar with. So industry standard program for creating artwork is Photoshop. So templates can be set up in CPP as standard, but now this can be completely managed in Photoshop. So we're not having to learn two different systems. The designers can just work with the programs that they're familiar with. So the PSD import routine is a bit of a game changer, really, because it allows you to set up the customizable products inside Photoshop and then upload the files directly to the CPP. As far as the system's concerned, any products created in this way are standard. They're just normal CPP products, meaning that all of the functionality can be accessed and changed on the CPP as normal. So the important part here is to be able to get the products into CPP easily. So how does it work? So it's based on the structure and the naming convention specified in the Photoshop file. So what we're able to do is to break down and extract information from each layer of the file and then piece them back together to put them into the correct place in CPP to create customizable products. So the routines that you would use in Photoshop are only standard routines that any designer is already familiar with. It's just a case of using them in a particular order or in a particular way. So it's just learning a routine. So a lot of it's to do with the file names. So the PSD file names should be saved in the following format with hyphens. So I'm not going to get into too much technical detail, but you can see from here that where we've got product name SKU.psd at the bottom shows iPhone 6 being the product. The name of the product is case and the SKU IP6S. So the product name can use underscore for spaces. They will be replaced when the file is imported. The product name refers to the product that will be what it will be called in CPP. This can be changed though later once it's been imported if you wanted to. And the SKU is the unique identifier for the product and can contain numbers, letters, and underscores. They won't be replaced, but this can be replaced once it's imported. So here's a screenshot from Photoshop. I've based this on just a standard white t-shirt just to keep everything simple. This is set on a transparent background, so a background can be added at a later date because of the transparency. And you can see in this area the standard layers that your designers will be set up with. So the PSD tree structure should be as follows. So I'll go into this in a little bit more detail. So you can see here you've got the view group at the top, followed by the print group, which has got the print area and user functionality. So we've got text area, image area, and the size. So what CPP will know, this background document is set up at a specific size. So it'll know the size of that, the positioning of the area. So it'll get the coordinates from the top left to the top left of the print area box which has been set up. So then when you specify the size, it will then know how to translate the pixels which display on screen to a physical measurement, so it generates the output at the right size. And then the final two elements at the bottom are about the product itself. So that shows the view of the product, which is the white t-shirt, and also the mask area, which is turned off, which is the area where there is going to be any color added, so you can put color overlays on. So the mask area here would effectively be the outline of the white t-shirt with the Gildan label chopped out so that the color areas don't change on top of the label. But all of these layers are just standard layers that any designer would be familiar with setting up. It's just a case of naming them correctly. So this is just a close-up view, so you can see all the names and where they're actually going to be called the relevant sections, dependent on how they needed to be set up. So once your file has been set up, then we need to get them into CPP. So you just log into CPP as you would do normally. So this goes into the product management section. So you select the category that the products are going to go into. So you will have a base category, which will be your company category. If you've then created subcategories for different product types, then you would select the category that you want the range of templates you've just created to go into. So you select this from the category selector on the left-hand side. So I've gone into a demo category just called promo. So with the promo section, this drop down allows you to do things with that individual category within CPP. So you just drop the drop down list down, and then you'll see from there is a new entry at the bottom which says import from PSD. So as you can see from the one above where it says create 2D product, that's the standard routine for creating your products in CPP, where you can specify the print areas, etc., exactly the same as you've done in Photoshop, but this is just, so this gives you the two options. So you can create them in CPP or you can create them in Photoshop, as we've just seen. So once if I just go back one, so you've just selected the import from PSD. As you click that, it will then give you a section to be able to choose your files. It also links here to, if you need any help, it will take you to the knowledge base article, which will give full instructions on the setup of the PSD files. So all you need to do is to click on the choose files, which will give you a normal open window to be able to select the files from your local machine wherever you've saved them. So on my machine, I've just found I've got a folder here which I've just got some PSD files in. So these would be the files of the templates that you previously created. So you just choose the files as you would do normally, click on the choose button, which will then import the product. So it runs the routine. There's a lot of information getting pulled into CPP, so it's not going to be completely instant. It might take a minute or so for each one, but it pulls the products into CPP. So you can just leave that running as they import. And then once the product has gone into CPP, you can then go into the print test just to double check everything has been set up correctly. So this is allowing for images to be added because we set up an image area. It's allowing text to be added. So I've just gone onto the add image tab and I've uploaded a custom gateway logo, which has gone into the predetermined print area that's been set up from the coordinates that were set on the Photoshop file. So it is quite a short webinar this week, but it's basically because the actual process is quite straightforward. So it just allows you to get your designers to be able to create as many designs as they want in Photoshop. All they need to do is to learn a very simple routine about how to set the Photoshop files up, which will be what they're familiar with doing anyway. So in summary, you just photograph the product, open it up in Photoshop, set up the image and text areas with the correct naming conventions, open it in CPP, select the categories, import your files, and then you can publish them for sale. So hopefully you found that of interest. I think the feature itself is a really exciting feature because it will make it so much easier for designers not to learn new systems when they don't need to, and they can just concentrate on working in the programs that they're familiar with. So hopefully that was of interest. My contact details are at the bottom, and I will be sending out a link to a recording of the webinar once it's generated shortly. So thank you again for joining us, and I'm sure that we'll see you again next week for next week's webinar.